Hi everyone. In this small video I'm going to show you how to create your motivational poster, but also, before you ever get started on this, let's have a look of what makes up a motivational poster. So this is taken from the allposters.com website. These are posters you can buy, and here's your standard motivational poster. So you have this great inspiring picture in the middle, and then you'll notice there's a keyword underneath, and usually it's a word that's quite long. Okay, it's better longer than shorter. And then you'll have a quote by someone famous underneath. Now the quote can also be by yourself, but just remember to quote yourself, so by writing your name underneath. You'll also notice that there's, and this would be really going above and beyond expectations, there's this nice line around the picture, but I won't show you how to do that in this tutorial, but if you figure it out, add it, and that would make it even look better. But what you will need in your assignment is the first letter and the last letter being slightly longer than the letters in between right here. So the I and the N will be taller. And where does your quote go? It's kind of centered beneath it. Okay, you also have this key line underneath. Also notice all this stuff here is taken, the color of it is actually a color from within the picture. Okay, so what we're going to do now is show you how to get started on this. Notice here also the background is black. You're welcome to have a white background also, but it has to make the picture pop. So depending on what's in the image, you'll choose white or black. So let's get started. Here's the picture I have. This picture is a royalty-free image that was taken online through their website, and that's the picture I'm going to use for this assignment. Now, here's the picture. I'm going to now start by creating a blank file, and I'm going to create this quite big. I'm going to type 3000 by 3000. Now remember, you're going to be resizing this for the web at the end. In the last process, the 800 pixels to the longest side. In the case of this picture, my width is probably going to be a bit longer than my height. So here's a big square to work with. It looks small now, but it's actually quite big. First thing I'm going to do is bring in this image. So let's click on our Move tool, drag the image in. Now this image actually shows up quite small, and the reason is this picture was taken from the web. Not to worry, we're going to resize it and make it fill our custom mat here, and yeah, we're going to stretch it out. Now it might become pixelated when we do that, but not to worry. When we resize it to 800 pixels in the last step, everything will all work out. Now that we have our canvas, I think that I'm going to want to make this a bit bigger. So I'm going to drag the corner out, make it bigger, check that out. And the first thing I notice here is I'm not really sure where I should place this so that the space on this side is exactly the space here and on this side also. So I'm going to need a grid. So what I'm going to do right now is go to Edit, I'm going to go to Preferences, and I'm going to go to Guides and Grid. And from here I'm going to set this at 100 pixels and 1 subdivision. Now you could also write 200, but I think 100 works well for me. So I'm going to click on OK, and now I'm going to add the grid. So there we have it. Hey, I did quite well here. So the spacing here is 2 blocks here, so that's actually 200 pixels because each block is 100 pixels each. Now this side I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to drag the corner out so it just falls straight on that. Now if you have trouble with precision, zoom into the area. Okay, so I'm going to zoom into this area, and what I notice here is I'm going to have to bring this back just a bit. There we are. Good. I'm going to check this off. If you look at each side, it's actually perfect. So 2 blocks here, 2 blocks here, and 2 blocks on the other side. Good. So that's equidistant. Oh, I just converted that to black and white by accident. Control Z. There's our color back. Control minus. There we have it. Now definitely I think this picture is going to pop more if my background's black. So I'm going to grab my paint bucket tool, I'm going to switch to black on the foreground color here, and I'm going to pour that in my bottom layer. So there we have it. The next step will be to write. So to do that, I'm going to grab my text tool, and the trick here is to find a font that's what I call sober. It's a font that's not too wild, something basic that's going to allow you to focus on the picture first, then see what's written. You don't want your font to take away from the viewing experience where you look at it and right away the person says, wow, that's a crazy font, and it isn't directed to the picture first. So let's have a look here. I think I'm going to try Let's try this one right here. Perpetua Titling. Let's try that. Okay, so now with a background that's black, I'm going to want to choose a color for my font that's from within the picture. White would work well, but I'm going to try maybe get some orange here. So I'm not going to select from here, I'm going to actually select an area of the picture. So there we are. I've picked this orange, I'm going to click on OK. And now we're going to start writing. So figure out which font size you want to use. I'm going to use, actually I want something bigger than 72, so I'm going to enter that manually. I'm going to type in 80. And now I can start writing. Now I'm going to write down the word growth, and remember, when we look at what we're supposed to do here, our first letter and last letter will be a bit taller. So I'm going to put my G in, and actually I'm going to make that bold. So there we are, and I'm also going to put in my H, my last letter. So there we have them. We have our first and last letter, and they're both at 80 size-wise. So let's align that with this line here. I want both to align perfectly. Now I need our middle letters. So for that I want to make them a bit smaller because they are smaller in this model. And for that I'm going to grab my text tool, click where I want to start the lettering, and I'm going to bring this down to, let's try 60. From here I'm going to write and let's see what's happening here. I guess I have to go to my top layer here. There we are. So growth. So R, now that's still at 80, so I'm going to bring that down to 60. There we are. Now notice this is quite compact. If you look at the model, letters are kind of spaced out a bit more, and this word's quite long. My word's a bit shorter, so I'm going to space this out. I'm going to press spacebar twice. There we are. And I'm going to place this right here, right in the middle. Now that means I'm going to have to move my G a bit. I'm also going to have to move my H out. Okay, but everything's aligned here. There we are, growth. And if you look at your model, you'll notice this key line underneath. I think I'm going to add that too. So another text layer, and let's create a nice line there. And I find this line a bit thick here, so what I'm going to do is bring that down to, let's try 30. Okay, I will have to make it a bit longer. And it's a bit long. Let's move that up. There we are. Okay, and that fits perfectly. Great. So, last thing I need to do right now is put in my quote, and that I'm not going to do in this assignment, but you can imagine the process of finding the quote. You paste it in here, make sure you're quoting the quote by writing down who said that, and you'll probably write that in white or orange, it's up to you, depending on the colors of your picture, you can use what you would like. So imagine that your quote's here at the bottom, and the last step will be to crop this for web. So let's grab our crop tool. Right now at my height 800, actually this picture can be wider than longer, so I'm going to switch this. I'm going to crop over the picture, and imagine that beneath the growth you have a quote there. So I'm going to leave it a little bit more space. I'm going to crop this. Now it's at 800 pixels width, and I'm pretty much ready to upload this to the web. Now if you're looking to go above and beyond expectation, you can add a key line around the frame. Maybe white would work well, that would make the picture pop even more. But again, if you want to do that, it would look great. Just call me over and I can show you the process if you do that. So there we are. So this will get you started on this. I look forward to seeing your results, and thanks for watching.